Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you what I do to kind of pre-break in these leather Brooks style saddles. Um, they come to you really rigid and they are known for taking forever to actually break in and conform to your butt before they actually get comfortable. And if you do what I'm going to show you here today, it really speeds up that process a whole lot. At the same time, I'm going to be aging this seat a little bit so that it doesn't look like it's just brand new off the shelf. That kind of bugs me when I see a brand new one on a vintage bike here. So we're gonna make it look like it's a little older and like it's been on the bike forever. And first off, let's take a look at this seat and what I bought. The seat I bought here is a Brooks knockoff. It's off AliExpress. And this is what I saw when I ordered it. So it was $35, half price right now. And I figured for $35, I'd take a chance and see if it was going to be something that I could use. As you can see, it actually looks just like the picture on the website. So it looks good. It is built very similar style where you've got the bridge with the rails and you've got a tensioner here at the front for tensioning up the leather. And then you've got bag hooks and all of that here at the back. So it appears to be well made. One thing that I really like about this is that this leather thickness here, I measured it and it is right at a 1/4 inch thick. This is 100% cowhide and the leather looks real nice on it. As with all of these saddles, every one, even the Brooks that I've had in the past, these things are just rigid. So what you need to do to start off is come up here to the tensioner and loosen this up a little bit so that we've got a little bit of give in the leather itself. What that does is it shortens this whole section just a hair and allows the leather a little bit of flexibility rather than just being stretched so tight here. So I'm going to start by doing that. We'll start by loosening the lock nut at the front of the seat here. And then we can just screw this tensioner in a little bit, shortening the cage and giving the leather a little bit of play there. You can feel the whole thing go a little bit more slack as you do that. So it's still very rigid, but we've actually got a little bit of play now. So that's where we want to start. I want to undo the cross lacing here and go ahead and get this out of the way because it's going to get in the way of what we're trying to do next. So go ahead and just pull that out. You can lace this back up after we're done. And now we've got everything out of the way. The leather's loosened up a little bit. Now flexes. The way these saddles are made, this leather piece is cut. It's put into a huge multi-ton press. And under a huge amount of pressure and heat, they form the seat into the shape that you see now. And it holds its shape really well, especially once it's attached to the frame. So the next thing we have to do is deal with the surface of this leather. And this is given sort of a lacquer coating here. So we have to break through this coating. No matter how much leather conditioner you put on top of this, it's not going to go through this coating. And we need to remove a good bit of it, at least in the areas where we want the conditioner to get into the leather. We can leave it alone on a lot of the outer parts here, like the back. I'll leave alone. I'm going to stay away from the rivets a little bit for now and just kind of clear the lacquer off of this area. I'll stay away from the front for the most part. You could remove this lacquer in a number of ways, but I'm going to use a 3M pad just because it's pretty quick and easy and it doesn't just scuff up the leather. It just removes the coating that's on top. As you take the finish off of this, you want to think about where the natural wear points would be on this leather saddle as you used it. And it would be all the high points up here on top. I can even this up just a little bit. It doesn't take much, so we're getting the wear patterns that we're looking for. and it would naturally be down in this area a little bit. If you look at an old Brooks saddle, it's this whole section across here that looks fairly worn and a completely different color than the tip and the rear of the saddle. Okay, now for color modification on this saddle, I'm going to use some dark brown kiwi boot polish here. This stuff's a little bit older, so it's starting to show its age a bit. But what I can do is work this into the leather here, and we can create our darker spots. Don't worry about keeping it real consistent at this point. We just want to work that into the leather, and then we're going to come back and even this whole thing up. So for right now, I just want to get this into the open pores on that leather. If you choose to do so, you can also use leather dye and an airbrush and do some really great blending of the colors one into the other on this. But I'm showing the more simple way that is easier for most people to do, and it gets a real good result as well. And now it's starting to look a little more aged. I'm going to go ahead and work a little bit of this stuff in around each one of these rivets too, and I'll show you why here in a minute. When we hit this with the buffer to polish those up just a hair and make them look like they have wear on them, this black will work its way in around each one of those rivets and give it that antique look as well. We're now going to take this guy over to my buffer here. Now this part takes a real light touch. I've got a buffing wheel on here that has been used on aluminum, so it's got a little bit of black in it. I did clean it up a bit, dress that a little bit, but if it leaves a little bit of black on here, I'm actually fine with that. We're going to work that in and use it as part of our discoloring of the seat. So with a real light touch, you don't want to just dig in with a buffer, but just work back and forth and blend your colors. And at the same time, we're going to be polishing the heads of each one of these rivets. So it'll look like there's been wear on there and should give it that real nice vintage look. Some of the areas that we were concerned with. Now we need to come back and start the heat process for working some of the beeswax into this seat. And for this, I like the Skidmore's. It's a really nice product. It's been around for hundreds of years. You know, what we want to see is this oil sort of break down and really start to go into the leather here. Very slippery. Okay, maybe you can see now that we're starting to get some darkening through the areas that would naturally be darker. I'll try to get the sheen right here, but I've removed what used to say Made in China underneath there. Let me show you this side. I haven't done anything to this side yet, and you can still read the Made in China there. I like to leave any sort of hide marks or tanning marks or anything, just because then it shows that it's real leather and it's, you know, had some age to it most likely. So this is just a real easy way to get rid of any embossing that you don't want on there. Okay, hopefully you can see there that the Made in China is all gone, and now we've just got a nice consistent logo there. And the finish is getting right. So we want to be darkening through these areas and leaving the tip and the rear much lighter. Give it that vintage look. While the next coat of this soaks in on the top, I'm going to go ahead and put the beeswax on the edges and go ahead and do the underside of the seat as well. I don't always do that, but on this one it seems particularly dry, so I'm going to spread that in there, and that way when water's flying up from the back wheel, the seat will be a little more protected underneath. Okay, I have the underside coated. Everything's a bit of a mess. We'll come back through obviously and clean up all the metal pieces and get everything off of there, but I'm going to allow that to soak in for a while. It's already taking up quite a bit. I'll keep adding as it soaks in, and we're going to work on the top side again and just keep coating, heating a little bit, and working the beeswax into the leather. So at this point I've got probably about an hour and a half of time into this, into getting it softened up quite a bit and not looking like it's a brand new seat. Got rid of some of the logos on the sides. Everything is coming along nicely. So this is going to clean up to look like a real great vintage seat here. I allowed that last bit of beeswax to soak in, and I think the seat's looking real good. It's definitely waterproofed at this point. We've got all sorts of beeswax worked into the leather, both top and bottom. So that's going to help a whole bunch with stopping the seat from being so affected by humidity. That's always an issue with these leather seats. The bottom's been coated as well and soaked in quite a bit. That should do it for this one. I think that's going to look real nice mounted on the bike. It doesn't say made in China anymore on it. I was able to remove that, and everything looks good. I think it's going to be a great seat. I'm excited that I've got something that looks this nice, should work extremely well, and only cost me $35. So check out that AliExpress if you're interested in picking up one of these seats. I'll put a link to it as well. And as always, I've got more bike and restoration videos coming up. So if this kind of thing interests you, please sign up for my channel, subscribe and like and do all of that kind of stuff. It really does help the channel. And I appreciate it. I'll see you guys on the next one.